Ladies and gents, welcome to the first live edition of the SEC Football Tube Sports Show. This has been long awaited. And I can officially say that we're back. We are back. I've been wanting to do a sports live show for this channel for a long time. And I think it's time that we do it. And what better way to honestly start a live show than what we're going to be talking about tonight? With Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks landing a big time 4-star quarterback recruit, Landon Duckworth is a Gamecock. This was a massive win for the Gamecocks on the recruiting trail. And there's been losses and there's been wins. We have took losses in the recruiting trail. But this is a big win for South Carolina. A massive win. And when you look at the highlights of Landon Duckworth as well, you see the potential to be a big time quarterback in college football. And if he's developed right, South Carolina might have just picked up another star quarterback in college football. Because let me tell you something about Lenora Sellers. The dude had hype since he came to South Carolina, and for good reason. And when you watched his tapes, you saw the potential right there in what the guy had. The way he can break out of the pocket, just his dual threat ability to be able to run and throw the ball. And you see that in Landon Duckworth when you watch his tapes. The dude breaks tackles, goes out of the pocket, and escapes for big yards, even long run touchdowns. And here's the thing. Who knows what's going to happen to Lenora Sellers after this year? Will he stay with the Gamecocks or will he go pro? To add a quarterback like this, a big time recruit for the Gamecocks, an elite football player, to add a recruit like this is massive because this feels like your next guy after Lenora Sellers. It really does. If this feels like your next guy. And if Lenora Sellers does leave after this year, what better to replace a good quarterback with another good quarterback? Will development be needed? Of course. But here's the good thing. Look at how Lenora Sellers has been developed in South Carolina. And no, he wasn't perfect last year, but you saw the guy put on the superhero cape many times last year. He was the difference for South Carolina. In the offense last year, under Lenora Sellers' leadership, they stepped up in games that I honestly feel like without QB1, they probably would have lost. Think about the Missouri game for a second. That game could have ended in many ways, especially when Missouri scored that touchdown with like a minute and 10 left. Went up 30-27, got the 2-point conversion. There we go. You had a quarterback to lead you down the field, make good decisions with the football, get it to your targets, and even make plays with his own legs. Look at the Clemson game. The dude absolutely wreaked havoc on Clemson's defense. And just this dual threat ability you see with Landon Duckworth, the talent is there. Everything's in place, I think, for this guy to be a star in the SEC, especially if he's developed right. I mean, this is a massive win. And like I said, we've lost some battles, but we've also won some battles. And lately, the Gamecocks are getting hot. That's a good point, Andrew. That's a really good point. How many times did Lenore Sellers break tackles against the Texas A&M defense? And all week long, coming into that game, and to be fair, I helped peddle this talking point because it was true. We talked about how A&M's defense was so good, but Lenora Sellers made the plays, broke out under pressure, and you see the same things with Landon Duckworth. I mean, this is a massive win, guys. Massive, massive win. And to hit on recruits like this to help your future, too, it's beautiful to watch. And again, like I said, there have been up and downs with this recruiting class. Via Mike Yuva on Twitter, with Landon Duckworth's commit, South Carolina is now back up to number 17 in the 2026 recruiting rankings. Massive boost. Big boost for the Gamecocks. Big win for Shane Beamer. And I'm really excited to see what this guy can do. I'm really excited. Now, who knows what's going to happen to Sellers after this year? But if he does decide to go, you got your next guy. You got him. Andrew, that's I was actually thinking about mentioning this. Yeah, when Lenore Sellers lowered his shoulder and loaded the shoulder, lowered his shoulder. That's better, and then just brought an A&M dude to the ground, just trucked him. Man, what a win! What a win for Shane Beamer. And I mean, if you continue to land guys like this, we could really turn that recruiting class around, man. I mean, to get talented quarterbacks like this, I mean, Shane Beamer's had it with quarterbacks, man. You got Spencer Rattler to come to Columbia. Then you have Lenore Sellers, who is on some people's Heisman list. I mean, you just added another good guy, and South Carolina already had the next guy with Nolan. Well, we'll see about that. I'm not entirely too sure about that. If I'm being honest with you, Andrew, you might be right, but we'll see. I'm not. I'm not entirely sure about that. I'm just gonna say that I'm not that sure on Air Noland as some people are. I'm just gonna be honest with you. He didn't impress me with the spring game. I'll just say. I'll just say that he really didn't impress me very much. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I mean, that was a massive get. Massive get. Huge win for Shane Beamer in the recruiting trail. And the Gamecocks, there have been ups, there have been downs. They've lost battles, but they are still getting their guys, and they're still rolling. They're still rolling. And it's crucial to land recruits like this to build a future. And again, I mean, I could go on, guys. I could go on. I mean, this is someone I really badly wanted. I highly anticipated this guy. I've been following his recruiting since it began, and I really wanted this guy because of the talent and the ability to be a great quarterback in the SEC. I wanted this guy so bad, and I know the Gamecocks did too. And Andrew, you actually brought up something that I was going to mention. South Carolina they got a good recruiting. Beamer's a good recruiter, but he does need more NIL money because the recruiting class the recruiting battles that Beamer has lost has been, I think, because of the money. They paid Texas and Texas A&M. They paid those guys more money, and that, whether we like it or not, unfortunately, that's the new reality of college football, guys. NIL is big in recruiting, and we gotta use it more, in my opinion, so we can land more of these guys. Because if you keep landing guys like Landon Duckworth, I mean, you could build something really special. You really could. The Texas schools do have a lot of money, and we saw it. I mean, South Carolina got beat out by both Texas and Texas A&M for some really good players. But the good news is, even though we've seen players leave for the money, we've also seen players like Lenore Sellers who've remained loyal. And trust me, we need a lot more of that, I think, in college football than those who just play simply for the money. But, that is how it is in today's version of college football. So, college football is a different game than what it was 20 years ago. Oh, for sure. For sure. And the truth is, you got to have money. Because the thing is, you could be a good recruiter, but if you don't have enough money, then you're not going to land on all of these guys. And I will say, the recruiting battles that Carolina has lost has been very unfortunate. They've been very unfortunate, but I will tell you this. I mean, you're still getting some guys. Some guys truly want to play for South Carolina because they're taking notice in what Beamer is doing here. They see what Beamer has done with guys like Lenora Sellers. And Sellers was already extremely talented. But my God, dude, he nearly got this team into the college football playoffs last year. Who saw last year coming? Honestly, who? Especially, listen, I went to the Old Dominion game, and let me tell you, leaving that Old Dominion game, I wasn't very confident this team would make a bowl game. And they went out and was a bubble playoff team. Yeah, as a freshman as well. I wish the SC athletic administration would spend more money on football. Clemson spends 42% of their revenue on football. South Carolina only spends 25%. Yeah, that's got to change. Throw everything at football, for crying out loud. Everything. Everything. I would take football over men's basketball, women's basketball, over anything. Football is my sport. Throw everything at football. Everything. But then again, I'm extremely biased in football, but seriously, like, throw everything at football, bro. Build a winner. You have everything in place to be a successful football program. Throw everything you got. I thought I was looking at a 4-8 team walking out of the. Yeah, honestly, me too. Me too. Spend at least 40%. Nah, man. Spend 50 or 60%. Seriously. Football, because here's the reason saying this. I'm not trying to say that the other sports don't matter, but football is the most revenue driving sport. Whether you like it or not, that's just a reality. Football is the sport that brings in the money and brings in the most fan support. Women's basketball is definitely caught in. Why do I keep mixing up my words, bro? I'm sorry. Women's basketball has definitely brought in some revenue because of how good they've been. I mean, South Carolina has been the most successful women's basketball program over the last 10 years, and I don't think you can deny that. And obviously, when you have a team like that, when you give Gamecock fans teams to watch that win national titles, they're going to come. How many national championships has South Carolina won under Don Staley? Like 3? In an undefeated national title, too, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years ago? I mean, listen, businesses, like Andrew pointed out, businesses run around college football. College football brings in the revenue. I mean, you need to put in more on football because that's what's driving your revenue. I mean, that's what writes your checks, whether you like it or not. That's what football does. So I put in 50 or 60% in on football. I really would put everything on in football. I was expecting 6-6 or 5-7 after the Carolina Clemson game. Yeah, I wasn't very high on Carolina coming into the 2024 season. I still predicted them to make a bowl game, but I don't think any of us saw 9-3, and just outside the college football playoff. I don't think any of us. I was definitely really, really pleasantly surprised with that football team because it did not look. It didn't look good in the Old Dominion game. But the good news is, it doesn't matter how you always start; it matters how you finish. South Carolina finished the regular season winning 6 games in a row. Anyone want to think about the last time? When was the last time South Carolina won 6 in a row? Let's see if one of you guys can answer that in the comments. When was the last time South Carolina won 6 in a row? You're right. It was under Spurrier, but what year? What year? Bingo. Bingo. 2012. 2012 was the last time South Carolina went 6-0. 2012. There's been a lot of things last year South Carolina's done since 2012. I mean, how many ranked conference opponents did South Carolina beat in a row? Texas A&M, Vandy. Vandy was number 24 at the time, guys. They were ranked too. And then Missouri. That's 3 straight conference opponents who were ranked. I mean, South Carolina did a lot of things they haven't done in the decade last year. Yeah, 2012. That's a long time. That's a long time. That's 13 years ago. Hard to believe that 2012 was just 13. How's it already been 13 years, bro? That's insane. But again, getting guys like Landon Duckworth is really good for the future. And if you keep getting guys like that, you'll keep having seasons like 2024 because you'll have the talent around this program to make good runs. Yeah, it did the same for me too, Andrew. It reminded me a lot of the Spurrier teams. I mean, that was genuinely a good football team last year that had a much higher ceiling too. And that's actually going to bring us into the next talking point in a few minutes, which is keys to a successful 2025 season for the Gamecocks. And a lot of us have their own. A lot of us have our own for it, but I'll tell you this. This is mine. And I'm going to talk about that very soon. But I just got to say, man, like this, I'm very happy about this because I wanted Landon Duckworth so bad. I mean, this is an elite get, an elite quarterback, big time get in an elite ball player for South Carolina. I mean, that just it's a massive, massive win on the recruiting trail. And everyone's excited about this, and rightfully so. Because even again, like some of you might think Aaron Nolan's the next guy after Lenore Sellers, and that might be true. I'm iffy on that, honestly. Because to be fair, the spring game, I mean, it's not everything. There have been players that have done bad in the spring game and looked pretty good in the regular season. Cade Klubnik, for an example, for Clemson. Cade Klubnik did not look good in last year's spring game. We saw what he did in 2024. So, I mean, and that could be the same for Aaron Nolan. He did terrible in the spring game, but the spring game is not everything, to be fair. There have been plenty of players who have done terrible in the spring game and look like stars, and vice versa. There have been players that look like stars in the spring game that look terrible during the season. So, I mean, the spring game doesn't tell you everything, no, but it does. Sometimes it does tell you things. And hopefully, this offense is not what we saw in the spring game. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that right now. Hopefully, my God, hopefully, this offense is not like we saw in the spring game. Because I was not impressed. I'll be honest, I was not impressed. He is a question mark. I'll be honest. Who knows what they expect out of Mike Shula? I think there are good things, but there are questions too. Like, what's he going to do with Lenore Sellers? And that's a big question for a lot of Gamecock fans. And the Illinois game rightfully left some Carolina fans wondering, like, is this the future of what's to come under our offense? Though, to be fair, I mean, we saw the offense struggle against Clemson, too. I mean, look, outside of Sellers breaking off a few runs and a couple other plays, what did South Carolina's offense really do against Clemson? It took the fourth quarter for you to do anything offensively. I mean, that really was not good. But your quarterback stepped up for you. And at the end of the Illinois game, when you had a chance to win, you folded. So uncharacteristic, too, because we saw in the Missouri game and in the Clemson game, when Carolina needed to make a play to win, they did. But the Illinois game was it reminded me so much of the Alabama game, like the same offensive mistakes. Sure wouldn't let Sellers be Sellers in the Citrus Bowl. Definitely seemed like it though. To be fair, Sellers did attempt a few runs. He did try to make plays for his legs a few times in that game, but not nearly as much as we would have liked, and it didn't really get anywhere either. But anyways, guys, this is going to bring me to the keys to success for the Gamecocks this season. And I think a lot of us can agree on some of these. Number one for me, avoid the early slip ups. Listen, your first 5 games, you'll be favored in my opinion in every single one of them. Virginia Tech, you should beat Virginia Tech. Not saying they won't give you a little bit of fits, but you should beat them. You should definitely beat SC State without question. You should beat them. Vandy, I'm not very high on Vandy. I know some people are because of Pavia and that other tight end, but I'm just not sure. And I mean, Vandy hasn't beaten South Carolina since the Big Bang happened. So I mean, why pick them to do it now? And then Missouri. Now Missouri, that is the game that admittedly scares me a little bit. That's going to be tough, but you should win that one. And Kentucky, you should, in my opinion, win those games. You're better than all of them. Yes, I think South Carolina is better than Missouri this year. I do. Even though that's a road game, that could be tough. Diego Pavia did say that Vanderbilt had South Carolina circled on their calendars. Well, Derek Mason said the same thing back in 2018. South Carolina was circled. It was going to be a street fight. What happened? They got their ass kicked, like they do every year. I mean, great. You have the game circled. Cool. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'll just say this, and Kentucky's a program I think is falling apart. They are falling apart, man. It's just not going well for Mark Stoops. This might very well be his last year if things really turn out bad in Lexington. I mean, my God. Missouri is going to be tough, but avoiding the slip up games against. Here are some games I'm really worried that South Carolina could probably slip up to. Virginia Tech. That's a game that I think we should win. I really do. I don't think Virginia Tech's going to be very good this year, but openers have been a struggle for South Carolina. They just have. I mean, look at last year, for gosh sakes. You can't tell me that, oh, we should have no problem. Dude, you nearly lost to Old Dominion. You got beat by 2 touchdowns by North Carolina the year prior. Georgia State gave you almost everything you could handle. Thank God for those 2 Beamer ball punt returns. Now, and yeah, EIU, you beat them. They're EIU. And Virginia Tech, I think, is this 6-7 win team this year. That's where I kind of think Virginia Tech's going to fall under 6. I think they'll be anywhere between 5 and a 7-win team. Virginia Tech's a wild card. You just never know with them. I'm just going to be honest. You just never know. But don't go losing a game you shouldn't. Don't go slip up to a Vanderbilt, for crying out loud. Don't lose to a Kentucky. Don't lose to a Virginia Tech. Avoid the slip ups, because if I'm going to be honest, South Carolina's made their goals for this season known. Their goal is to make the playoffs this year. That's their goal. If you want to meet that goal, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. Some of you might disagree with this. You lose to Virginia Tech, I think that opportunity is squandered. I just do, because looking down the road, look, you say, well, we might have a chance. Yeah, okay, but 9-3 wasn't enough to get you in last year. It wasn't. You were the hottest team in college football last year to end the season, 9-3, and you still didn't get in. South Carolina had a rock solid resume. Tiny little problem, they had 3 losses, and clearly that wasn't good enough unless you won a conference title like Clemson did. So it's important to avoid the slip ups, because South Carolina's got a tough slate after the 5 games. You got to go to Death Valley to play LSU. You got to play Bama at home, Oklahoma at home, who will be improved, Then of course the road games. You gotta take on Texas A&M and Ole Miss on the road, and then you got Clemson at home. So it's not like you have much room for error. Don't slip up in the first 5 games. Don't. Maybe you lose to Missouri. Maybe you do. But I'm talking teams like you just do not lose the opener. Because I really do believe if Carolina loses that opener to Virginia Tech, my confidence in them having a chance to make the playoffs is going to be pretty much shot. Again, maybe I'm wrong about that, but it would you got to start 5-0 if you want to make the playoffs. You got to. I don't see another scenario in which I just don't see it. Another one, protect Lenore Sellers. The offensive line has got to improve, and you've got to protect Sellers. Now, to be fair, Lenore Sellers stepped up last year and made a lot of plays with his legs. He broke tackles. He escaped the pockets. He he absolutely escaped pressure like a boss. But you also saw where he got sacked like 3 or 4 times a game, outside of a couple outliers. I mean, South Carolina was giving up 3, 4 sacks a game outside of the Texas A&M game, and what was the other one? I think it was Vanderbilt. I mean, he gave up 3 sacks to Wofford. Wofford! 4 to Old Dominion? Bro, you got to protect the quarterback. You have to protect the quarterback because even though Lenore Sellers has made plays, he's not always going to be able to do that. He can't be Superman every time. He can't always break out of pressure. You've got to protect him. And good news is I think Josiah Thompson is going to have a massive season. And I have a friend who tells me the offensive line is going to be better this year. Ain't no way they get worse. But it feels like every year we tell ourselves no way they can get worse, and they get worse. I mean, giving up 3, 4 sacks a game, you have to think they'll be better than that. But I don't know. But here's the truth: you need Lenore Sellers to make as much plays for you as possible to win these games, especially on the road. Now, South Carolina, they dominated on the road last year. Now, to be fair, yes, it was against teams like Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt. But I mean, South Carolina did pretty good. They did pretty good on the road last year. I mean, they won. They won on average by 22 points on the road in the SEC last year. The only exception was Bama. I mean, you have got to protect Lenore Sellers, especially if you want a chance to win these big games. Because your road opponents this year ain't no Kentucky, ain't no Oklahoma, and ain't no Vandy. LSU on the road. You got to play A&M and Ole Miss on the road. Those are 3 tough teams. Ole Miss, I'm waiting to see on them. Part of me thinks they could fall a little bit this year, but that's still going to be a tough place to play. LSU and A&M, I expect to be very solid, even though, God, I'm losing faith in A&M. Like every single year, I think they're going to do something, and they just go 8-4. But still, that's going to be tough. South Carolina dominated that game in the fourth quarter, but up until the fourth quarter, A&M was cutting the game pretty close. That was a close game for the majority of the game, but then South Carolina just broke the cap off the bottle, and then there you go. And yeah, Andrew, that's a good point. The LSU game is very hard on the road, and if I'm being honest, I don't think we're going to win that game. Not to spoil my prediction, but LSU's a tough place to play on the road, and I really do think they're going to be solid. Protecting Sellers is key because look, there are going to be times where we see it where he is going to be Superman. We just notice of Sellers. But there are also going to be times where he won't be able to. because defenses we already know defenses are going to work to figure Sellers out this year. Like you just know it. Give him enough time to make a play. Especially if you want to improve him on as a passer, give him time. Don't make him run for his life every 2 or 3 seconds. Because when a quarterback is running for his life, you realize the decisions, like you have to make a decision quick. And sometimes those decisions end very poorly. P.S. Interceptions and fumbles. And we saw that from Sellers last year. So you've got to provide protection for Lenora Sellers because whenever you're under pressure, whenever you ain't got but 2 or 3 seconds before someone's in your face, you have to make a rash decision. And sometimes those can end very poorly, as I described. I remember when you had A&M going 11-1 in 2021 with only one loss to Alabama, and the A&M fans got mad at you, and they proceeded to beat Alabama, but also went 8-4. That's the thing about A&M, man. That's the thing about the Aggies. I don't know. Was that 21 or was that 22? I think that was 22. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I mean, point taken though. I mean, A&M, for God's sakes. I mean, I give y'all so much credit every year, and every year it's the same. You go 8-4. I mean, at some point, A&M fans got to be tired of this, like, because you have a higher potential than 8-4 with your roster, but that's the best you can get to. And here's another key for me as well. Let sellers be sellers. There's a lot of people who are worried that Shula will hold back Lenore Sellers because of the Illinois game and that he'll try to make him a pocket passer and everything. And the problem is, I think it would be good to improve Lenore Sellers in the passing game, but to use him for something he's not is a recipe for disaster. You got to let him make plays with his legs. That's how you won the majority of your games last year. You guys want to know something? Carolina went 9-3, but they were a few plays away from going 6-6 as well. And who was it because of? Sellers. He was the difference. He's a dual threat quarterback, and he should be used as such. Making him a pocket passer would be a disaster. That would be a disaster. You can't do that. Right, Andrew? He's a dual threat. He's not a pocket passer. Using the dude for something that he's not is setting him up for failure. And if Sellers fails, I'm going to be honest, and I hate to put all of this on one guy, but he's the star quarterback. At the end of the day, it does fall. Your season falls on who's in charge. And unfortunately, the quarterback's the one in charge of the team. And if Sellers fails, the Gamecocks fail this year. And if Sellers fails this year, it's going to be because of Shula. I mean, let Sellers be Sellers. Let him be that dual threat that he is. And I'm telling you right now, I really don't see a way Sellers fails this year unless Mike Shula tries to make him something he's not. You can listen. Yes, do improve him in the passing game. But the pocket passer, not something I agree with at all. I just think that's limiting his ability and limiting his talent. And guess what? When Norris Sellers legs, you don't win that Clemson game without it. Sorry, but you don't. Andrew, you just said something so critical, and I want to say something so crucial, and I want to say this. Beamer's one critical error at South Carolina that he has not yet seen to learn from is over reliance and that's true. I can't talk. I'm sorry, but this is true. Just being so reliant on the pro style system, and you've seen how that's turned out. It hasn't turned out very well. That is true as well. You might not be A&M without Sellers' legs, but to be fair, you might not have also beaten without Rocket Sanders because Sanders had a big part of that game as well. To be fair to Rocket Sanders. All right, there we go. We're back, guys. Sorry about that. My mic cut off for a few minutes, but it's all good now. So, continuing on with some more keys I have for the Gamecocks to have a successful 2025 season. Limit the mistakes, like the turnovers. How many game changing turnovers did South Carolina have last year? The fumbles and the interceptions against Alabama, let me tell you, without those, Carolina beats Alabama. I strongly believe that. South Carolina's defense had Bama on the ropes the entire game, but what's the thing that cost them the game? Turnovers. How many turnovers did Carolina have against Bama? 3 or 4. I think it was 4. It's impossible to win a game like that. I mean, to be fair, we turned it over against Clemson like 3 times and won, but you get my point. It is incredibly hard to win a game like that, turning the ball over so much times. And some of the penalties as well need to, because there were stupid penalties. Now, we could talk about the LSU game. Those penalties were horrible. Horrible. But I mean horrible on the side of the refs. But I'm talking about self-inflicted penalties. Limit the mistakes, man, because listen, the schedule this year is difficult again, and you got really tough road games. And if you want a chance to win those games, you cannot turn the ball over. At least a lot. You have got to limit your turnovers, because if you don't, that can swing a lot of ball games against your favor. The Alabama game is the greatest example of this, because I really think Carolina would have won that game if it wasn't for the turnovers. I mean, Bama's offense could do barely nothing, guys. And then another thing, speaking of Dylan Stewart needs to continue to be amazing. And we've got to replace key departures on the defensive side, like Kyle Kennard. Who I think will be that Kyle Kennard of last year is Brian Thomas Jr. I think that dude's going to have a monster season. I'm not saying he's going to do everything Kennard did, but bold prediction. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to lead this team in sacks. I think Stewart will come close, but I really think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to lead this team in sacks, and he might be top 3 in the SEC in sacks. Those are bold predictions, by the way. I really, really think that, I mean, if this defense can step up, and we saw guys who stepped up last year that were a big part of that 9-win season. I mean, you saw it. I mean, we had Demetrius Knight, guys like him step up, Vikari Swain, Judge Collier. And there's many more I'm not mentioning, but we saw guys like that step up, and some of them are still here. I mean, yes, Stewart is definitely going to be double teamed, but the good news is there were times when Kentucky double teamed him and he still ripped through them like a piece of paper. But Dylan Stewart's going to have to be a Superman on defense, in my opinion. He's going to have to continue to be great. And we're going to need to have some more defensive players step up, like Brian Thomas Jr., Brandon Sissy. I think we could see guys like Jelon Kilgore, Judge Collier, and Vikari Swain. These guys can step up. And also, how about another Clowney in South Carolina? What does Damon Clowney do? That'll be interesting. I don't know. Is Clowney playing this year or is he playing next year? We'll have to see. But, I mean, replacing what you lost last year is key as well. And with a tight end, I think South Carolina's got their guy at tight end. Michael Smith is dangerous. And I think he's going to break out and have a monster season. I really do. Watch out for Michael Smith, bro. Don't forget the plays he made last year, especially late in the season. Don't forget those plays because he made a crucial play against Missouri. He made many crucial plays last year, but Michael Smith is a beast, and he's going to break out, in my opinion. Oh yeah, and remember, some of Carolina's stars last year were transfers. Rocket Sanders, Kyle Kennard. I mean, some of the best players from last season were transfers, so who knows? And some of these guys have been waiting to lead this South Carolina defense. So I really don't think that the situation with this defense is as bad as some people might think. Now, I definitely think they'll take a slight step back, but I don't think it's going to be like it was early 2023. I just don't think it's going to get that bad. Kennard is going to be almost impossible to replace. I disagree with that. I do disagree with that. They might not have 11 or 12 sacks, but there could be somebody who can make big plays like he did. Brian Thomas Jr. I really think that dude could. I think that dude could get a lot of sacks. Oh yeah, Jordan Dingle's going to be good as well. There's still some. There's a lot of guys, but I think Michael Smith's going to get the most attention. And I think he's going to break out. Again, I'm not saying that someone's going to outdo. I'm not saying Brian Thomas Jr. is going to outdo Kennard. Of course not. But what I'm saying is he could fill that position in very nicely. He could. He very well could. I'm high on Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's going to do really good. He's a beast. And some people don't mention how he actually helped Kyle Kennard get a lot of these sacks. I mean, dude had a few sacks of his own last year. Brian Thomas Jr. did a lot of good stuff last year too. I mean, some people don't see what I see in this guy. A lot of people see it, but there are some who don't, and I understand it. But I think they're going to learn, and they're going to learn very quick. Brian Thomas Jr. is a beast. I'm very high on the guy. And Dylan Stewart, of course, is too. And when you have players like that on your team, I mean, you could do a lot of good things. But yeah, Kyle Kennard was him. Kyle Kennard was him. The question is, how much of a step back will the defense take from last year? You want my honesty? I don't think it'll be big. I don't think it'll be a big step back. I don't think it'll be that big. I just don't. I still think the defense can help you win some games. I don't think it'll be quite as good as last year, but I also don't think it's going to be that drastic of a step back. I just don't. I still think this defense is still full of ball players. There are quite a bit of dudes I can mention that I really think could help Carolina in the long run. But the defense is going to have to be critical last year because here's the thing: the defense was good for you last year, of course, but some of the games that were won last year, especially late in the season, was actually caused by the offense stepping up when they needed to most. But there's going to come games where the defense is going to have to make a stand. LSU game, I think, was one of those games where the defense had to make that play, but LSU they went into the end zone. I hate thinking about that game, bro. I really freaking do. But just finding ways to not shoot yourself in the foot as well with turnovers. And listen, when we talk about the LSU game, yeah, that was a bad call. That was a bad call by the refs, but you don't blow a 17-point lead, bro. You don't. You're asking to lose when you do that. You just are. It's hard to blow a 17-point lead and win like that. I mean, it really is. And the thing is, too, I really think, and again, and this is another one, avoiding the injury bug, Sellers being healthy. We need Lenora Sellers. I really think, honestly, that losing Lenora Sellers also kind of turned the LSU game, in the wrong direction. And that LSU game was what kept Carolina out of the playoffs. Win that game like you should have, and you would have been in the playoffs. And that stings. Don't lose these games. Don't shoot yourself in the foot when you have teams up by 17 points. There's no excuse for losing that LSU game, dude. None. You got to avoid that this year. You've got to. And if you do avoid those, if you avoid the slip ups, if you avoid the turnovers, if you avoid a lot of this stuff, I really think the path to a successful season is there. Especially if your key players stay healthy. Then it could be a very successful season for South Carolina. It could be. And of course, if you allow Sellers to be Sellers, if you let him do his magic, that's a plus. That's a bonus. And I really do think that the season's going to come down to how South Carolina plays earlier in the season. Like the season could be decided in this stretch. LSU, Bama, and Ole Miss. I really think that could decide the season. And I will tell you, I think Carolina could have a chance. They could have a chance, but they've got to avoid the turnovers. Doing the things that cost you the game. That cost you a playoff last year. You can't make those same mistakes. One thing SC really needs is for Fajon to get healthy, yes. Or excuse me, to get to play, yes, absolutely. But this is another. This takes me to another rant. The NCAA just continues to show how corrupt and incompetent and just flat out ridiculous that they truly are. Like the NCAA legitimately pisses me off, dude. I mean, this Fajon situation, this is so stupid. This decision should have been made months ago. Why is it taking this long? What are you waiting for? Are you really this incompetent to the point where you're going to wait until probably the last second to make a decision on this guy? Like, what is it with the NCAA, bro? This is just ridiculous. Let him play, bro. Just make the decision and let him play. Fall camp's coming up very soon. Time is running out. You need to make the decision now. You should have made it. You should have made this months ago. Just really makes me mad, man. The NCAA just shows they don't care about their athletes. They don't care about anything. I mean, they really don't. They don't care about anything. Just more disrespect, more stupidity, more incompetence, and it's getting really tiring. It really is. I'm just done with it. Let the guy play for crying out loud. Just approve him and move on. I don't know why this has to be so difficult. I really don't. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid. How you doing, Hokey? Good to see you in here, man. It's good to see you in here. But it's It just really makes me mad to see this because it's just again it shows incompetence. It shows a lot of issues within the NCAA that I just really freaking hate. I really hate it. And some of their rules are ridiculous. Almost everything about them are ridiculous. And it's so maddening to watch this process and how stupidly unnecessarily long this has taken. And I'm doubting every second. I'm doubting, and I don't want to doubt that they'll let him play, but I have almost no faith in the NCAA to make the right decision. It's rare that they do. Sure didn't take as long to approve Diego Pavi's eligibility, did it? Why is it taking so long for this? I just don't. It's just very infuriating, man. It really is. But what can you do? But we need this guy too. You need Rasul Fajan or Rasul. I meant to say, excuse me, Rasul Fajan. You need this guy. You need him. And yes, we got another guy. We got another guy in the running back room. Excuse me if I butchered his name, but I think it's Isaiah Gustave or Isaiah Gustav or whatever his name. And that's a good running back, but and I mean we saw last year sometimes that South where excuse me, we saw some times where Oscar Attaway had some good moments, but I just you need Rasul Fajan. I mean, the experience this guy does. I mean, he had a massive season. Massive season with who was it? Utah State? Is that where he came from? I mean he was over 1,000 yards rusher. I mean, he had a monster season. We need it. Yeah, and you're right, Andrew. There have been multiple times where you've pressured the NCAA and they cave. But this it's just ridiculous, man. This process is just taking too long and it's so infuriating and it just seems so unnecessary to do this. I remember one time that way back in the Spurrier days around 2012, the NCAA once sanctioned South Carolina for having too much frosting on a cake at a recruiting event. They later dropped the charge. What? This is what I'm saying. What? That's the stupidest thing I've having too much icing on the cake. Hey, fools, the more the merrier. The more the merrier. It's a cake, you dummies. Who cares? The more frosting on a cake, the better. The more tasty. The more enjoyable. What's wrong with that? Ooh, too much sugar. Well, who cares? There's many things that are too much sugar. None of you NCAA folks care about that when you drink a Coke or a Mountain Dew. You know how much sugar's in those? I mean that's the stupidest. Oh my god. Oh man. I wonder why Fajon has not sued the NCAA yet. Oh, trust me, I think he's getting pretty darn close to. I am thinking their strategy might be to wait until the right to be wait until right before the season to sue, but that it will be guaranteed he gets to play. Well, yeah, he should sue them, but it's probably some things that's altering that decision. Maybe he's waiting, but I think he's getting pretty darn close. If I was him, I would go ahead and do it. But I'm not him, so I mean, who knows? And it takes a lot of guts to, what is this XP thing? What do you mean? What do you mean XP? I'd sue them after the Virginia Tech game, though. I mean, yeah. What's when South Carolina beats the living soul out of Virginia Tech in week 1, we ought to sue them because that was too graphic to watch. That's a good point, Hokie. That's a very good point. It's a very good point. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. If I'm being honest, I'm actually very worried for that game, and I think Virginia Tech could very well beat us. I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, you're talking about the comment section XP. That's some new thing that they've done. I don't know what that's for. I think it's your points for chatting and stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. But after the Virginia Tech game, it will be way too late. It would be way too late for Rasul Fajan to sue the NCAA because that's the season, and at that point, that's too late. But it's just so maddening. It's frustrating. It's absolute bullcrap, and I just don't know why they continue to push this out when this decision should have been made months ago. Hey, if you don't approve, just go out and say it. If you don't approve, then go out and say it. There's no need to drag this on into August, dude. Fall camp's coming up pretty soon. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I mean that's something I meant to rant on earlier because I wanted to do a show last week but didn't have time to. But I mean, truly, it just really it's infuriating. It's ridiculous. It just shows the NCAA to be what they are, and I just hate everything about it. But yeah, those are my keys for South Carolina to have a successful season. Those are my keys. Protect the quarterback. Let sellers be sellers. Stop the turnovers. Stop the mistakes. Defensive replacements. I mean, better offensive line, better QB play, sellers to continue to be amazing, and just to limit the mistakes, and of course to avoid a slip up in the first 5 games. You must. I mean, if you want to have a big season, you can't start 3-2. Dare I say even 4-1? Because I mean, again, you got to start 5-0 in my opinion if you want to make the playoffs, and that's the goal for the team. So yeah, and of course, Shane Beamer stuffing Hugh Freeze in a locker, in a hard, cold locker. South Carolina beats Auburn yet again. Stuffs Hugh Freeze in a locker. And bad news for you, Hugh, there's no prostitutes in that locker. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. Just another disappointing season and disappointing loss that defines Auburn football. That's what you are, a disappointment in pure Auburn fashion. Auburn's going to Auburn. They just are. You're a loser. Auburn is not what they were 5 years ago. Sorry, you're not. People want to play for South Carolina because they see what's being built in Columbia. They see the potential. And yeah, listen, what Norris Sellers did last year, I think caught a lot of people's attention because people say, okay, Carolina could be something with a quarterback like that. And again, this year, if South Carolina comes out and has another solid season and even for the love of God, please, makes the playoff, that would be the biggest recruiting pitch South Carolina could possibly have. if if Sellers actually goes to New York and the Gamecocks win the playoffs. And again, it would take quite a bit for that to happen, but I'll tell you right now, I think it's possible, and I think depending on how we play, it's achievable. I think it It doesn't seem to go up. I think it progressed at some point. Don't slip up on the road at Missouri. That's the biggest slip up game. Absolutely. Absolutely, though. I'm looking at that Virginia Tech game, bro, and that seems like a game we would very much lose. I hate to say it, but it does. And listen, with all due respect to Hokie for life, you're in here. I love you. You're my buddy. But the truth is, South Carolina, you're a top 15 team, top 20 team at worst. You shouldn't lose to Virginia Tech. I'm sorry, Hokie. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. We shouldn't. You're more talented than Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech is anywhere in the ball club of 5 to 7 wins this year. They're unpredictable. I just don't know what to think of the Virginia teams this year. They're always so unpredictable. I mean, they just are. And I just feel like you should not lose that Virginia Tech game. I'm not saying you had to blow them out, but just win, man. Just don't lose because again, if you lose that Virginia Tech game, oh boy, I just don't see how Carolina makes. I just don't see any chance of the playoffs if you lose to Virginia Tech. That's a critical game you must win. Eli Drinkwitz has always been a nuance to South Carolina. Oh, absolutely. But here's the question: if South Carolina, Kentucky was a nuance for a long time, now South Carolina's beat them 3 in a row, could very well be 4 in a row this year. South Carolina beats Missouri again this year. Has Carolina turned the tide in the Missouri rivalry? We'll see. Or at least what they think is a rivalry. I mean, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to get into that, but we win comfortably. I hope so, but I just don't think we're going to. I just don't see how we beat them that bad. Something tells me we'll win, but it's going to be very ugly. Something just tells me that. Something tells me, yeah, you're gonna win, but it's not gonna be very pretty. Like that's just the gut feeling I have about that game. And my gut, unfortunately, has a track record. Let's see. South Carolina should blow us out, but God knows, I mean, dude, listen, this is South Carolina football. We've lost games that we had no business losing to. North Carolina 2019, App State, Citadel. We've lost games we shouldn't have lost. Don't put it past us. I wouldn't I wouldn't put it past us to lose to Virginia Tech. I really wouldn't. Losing Virginia Tech would drastically lower season expectations. Beating South Carolina would probably single-handedly save Prize job. It probably would because that would be a top 15, top 20 win. That would be a good win for Virginia Tech. South Carolina, this is where we are right now. South Carolina is in almost everybody's top 15. At the worst, top 20. That would no doubt be a massive win for Brent Pry and Virginia Tech. And that would give a lot of Hokie fans hope. Like, hey, we just beat a ranked South Carolina in Atlanta. I hope to God personally we don't see that, but I wouldn't put it past us, unfortunately. I just wouldn't. Losing to Virginia Tech will set a bad tone. Yeah, it would. It very much would. And that would be horrible. We're 2-10 in our last 12 season openers. Yeah, that is pretty bad. Not gonna lie. The 2 wins are beating top 15 teams. So I mean, yep, and that's another fear. Because that's probably where we're going to be. It would knock SC out of the top 25 too. It depends on where we're ranked. I mean, if let's say we're ranked 13 through 14, which I think we're going to be. I think we're going to be anywhere between number 13 and number 16. If we lost that game, yeah, that probably would knock us out, or that would put us at number 25. I don't know. We definitely wouldn't be in the top 20. I'll tell you that. Speaking of being cold in season openers, LSU has been very bad in season openers lately. They have. And here's bad news for them. They got to go to Clemson at night. They've got to. Now, good news for them, Clemson hasn't beat their 0-3 against SEC teams right now. So, I mean, it's 2 negative trends. Which one's going to be broken? My gut tells me Clemson's going to beat LSU in depth. in the fake Death Valley. Yeah. So I that's what I think is gonna happen. Though I could very well see LSU winning, but my gut's telling me I don't know. I don't know if it's my gut or just my thinking, but something's telling me Clemson's gonna beat LSU. And I think if Clemson does that, there's a very good chance if they avoid a slip up in the ACC against Virginia Tech or Louisville, and they avoid losing to Carolina again. Something tells me that could very well be a undefeated regular season for them. Clemson, I don't wouldn't say 100%. I would not say 100%. My confidence on that pick, Gavin, is actually 40%. I'm not the most confident on my pick there. I'll be honest. Yeah, bro, we have some insane week one matchups. We really do. We have some insane week one matchups, bro. Ohio State, Texas. Oh, man. Clemson, LSU. What are some other games? Maybe they're off me right now. But what are some other games we have? Oh yeah, Georgia Tech in Colorado is actually one that captures me a little bit. Georgia Tech, I think, is my dark horse in the ACC. Oh yeah, Notre Dame, Miami, yes, bro, yes. And South Carolina, Virginia Tech's interesting as well. It's a neutral site game. This is the first time we played Virginia Tech in like how long has it been? Like 34 years. It was 1992 the last time we played Virginia Tech. From the South Carolina side, is panic and nerves because y'all have expectations. On the Virginia Tech side, it's panic and nerves because we have no expectations and hold the team to a higher degree. Here's the yeah, we have expectations, but here's the thing. Our panic and nerves is because we've seen the same movie over and over again as Gamecock fans. We have seen our teams lose to teams they shouldn't lose to. So yes, it's because of expectation, but we've seen it as Gamecock fans. It's from personal experiences, past Gamecock trauma. PGT. I mean, this is we've done this. Yo, what's up, Zanino? It's good to see you, man. I'm trying so hard not to get sucked into the Gamecock Sunshine Puppet crowd. Yeah, I'm definitely not there. I'm definitely not there. I think this team's got a good chance to do some great things this year, but I'm definitely no sunshine pumper. Y'all know that. I'll tell you the brutal truth. I'll hurt feelings if I gotta. I don't want to, but I'll do it. South Carolina didn't play Virginia Tech in 1992. Might have been 1991. Excuse me, 1991. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I missed that year by one. I missed it by one. My fault, bro. My fault. My fault. I was close. But yeah, my point remains. So yeah, it actually has been 34 years then. Nice. So I was right when I said it was 34. I expect 3-9. I don't think you're going 3-9, bro. I actually have y'all making a bowl game, Hokie. I think y'all go 6-6. I don't think y'all go 3-9, bro. I don't. I don't think Virginia Tech's that bad. I just don't. But yeah, what fuels my nervousness for South Carolina Virginia Tech is just because this feels like a very familiar spot. I came into the North Carolina game in 2019 expecting to win that game, and we lost it. And the thing is, Yeah, South Carolina turned out to be really bad in 2019. We won 4 games, but I mean, still, you were better than North Carolina. At least it seemed like it at the time. But it feels like a very familiar spot where you're playing a team you should beat, but you don't show up and you lose. It's just that feeling of past experiences, though. I don't necessarily. Here's what my gut tells me. Yeah, South Carolina will beat Virginia Tech, but this might be a very uncomfortable game. I think we had the potential to be a really good team, but like you said earlier, PTGS will actually post Gamecock traumatic disorder. PGTD is haunting me this season, especially because of 2022 going into 2023. That's a good concern, but may I tell you why I don't really think that's the case? If you look at 2022, South Carolina went 8-4 because they got hot later in the season. But outside of that what does Carolina really do? I mean, you won 4 games in a row. You beat Kentucky and you beat A&M. That was great, but half of that 4-game winning streak was against Charlotte and SC State. You got your brains beat in by Florida. I mean, yeah, you beat Vandy. Congratulations. Like we've been doing since the Big Bang happened. But what I'm saying is, I mean, outside of the Tennessee and the Clemson game, I mean, Carolina really hasn't done. They didn't do a lot in 2022 outside, and I know that was still a good season, but it wasn't perfect. South Carolina was a good football team in 2024. I think there are differences. South Carolina was outright kicking almost everyone they've played, kicking all of their asses. They should have beat LSU. They should have beat Bama. They were better than both of those, and they found a way to lose a game. South Carolina straight up dominated the teams they should beat. Because almost a lot of people thought, well, they should lose to LSU, they should lose to Bama, and they should lose to Ole Miss. Well, we did. But against the teams like Kentucky, against the teams like Oklahoma and Vandy, I mean, we won. 2022 was, you caught fire in the last couple games of the season. 2024 was the whole year, it seems like, was on fire. Or most of it at least. Like you got hot in the last 6 games. Like 24 was better. I think it's a little bit different, but you are right to be concerned because yeah, South Carolina finished an 8-win season with a 5-7 record in the year after. And that was with Spencer Rattler at quarterback and with a couple other talent. I mean, you had some talent in 23, but the injury bug came and got you. And offensive line was bad yet again, like it is every year. And defensively, you couldn't tackle. You just couldn't tackle. You turned on late, but it wasn't good enough early on in the season. You blew a 10-point lead against Florida, and with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, that screwed your season in 23. Screwed it. Let's be real, y'all beat LSU. I don't think so, bro. I No, I mean it's a road game. It's on the road. I think LSU is going to be very good this year. I don't know though. There is a little voice deep down in me that's telling me, South Carolina might actually beat LSU. It's strange. I have developed that feeling deep down that hey, maybe Carolina beats LSU. But there's also this. I mean, it's a tough place to play. When my brain is telling me Carolina loses to LSU, but I'd be lying to you if I said that I didn't have some sort of deep down thing that maybe Carolina gets LSU. Oh, I was talking about last year. Oh yeah, last year we absolutely should. beat LSU. We should have won that game, no question. You were up by 17 points. You had no excuse for losing that game. Not the refs. We can blame the refs however much you want, but my God, we had a 17-point lead and we blew it. So, guess what? It's on us as well. You don't blow a 17-point lead at home. You don't. I mean, yeah, in 2024, we absolutely, no question asked, should have destroyed LSU. But we didn't. And we got to live with that forever because now we get to look at that game as the game that screwed us from a path to the national championship. And that's not me saying we would have won the national championship. Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is the playoffs, you beat LSU, you make the playoffs. And that's how you get to the national championship. It's through the playoffs. I mean, you have a chance to win the natty if you're even in the playoffs. You have a chance at least, not a big one, but you have a chance. We got to live with that forever now. I mean, that goes against things. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't lose the game on stupidity. Yeah, I'll be honest. There is something deep down that's telling me, and that LSU game might go a little bit more favorably than you think, especially after how last year ended. And I love it if it turned out to be the LSU win this year that gets South Carolina into the playoffs. That would be such delicious, crazy irony. Think about that. South Carolina starts 5-0. They beat LSU. They're 6-0, and then they beat teams like Oklahoma and Alabama. I mean, that chance might be there, but it's a long shot in my opinion because I mean LSU. It's always tough being on the road at LSU, and for some reason we've come close in the past, but we just haven't been able to do it. Oh, Andrew, listen, if you don't think South Carolina has circled that LSU game, oh my God. Listen, they definitely freaking have circled that game. They've circled the Bama game and they've circled the LSU game because they know they should have won both of those games and they didn't. Hell yeah. Those games are circled on the Gamecocks list. You better believe. Harold Perkins scares me. Well, yeah, I mean, that is a fear, but I'll tell you what, though. I mean, listen, South Carolina was pretty good on the road last year. They were. They were good against good teams like Clemson, like Bama. I mean, Bama wasn't perfect, but they were a solid team. Still, even though they went 9-4, they were still beating Alabama would be massive. Andrew, my gut's telling me that happens. We'll see if that happens, but my gut is telling me that happens. You know what else will be massive? What else will be massive? I definitely think snapping the Clemson streak at home would be massive because South Carolina hasn't beat Clemson at home since 2013, y'all. A little very, very disturbing streak that needs to come to an end. But even more disturbing, Carolina's only beat Clemson at home 6 times since 1980. Like what? That is just sad. That's hard to believe. Like you've got to start beating them at home. Like it's just sad how much dominant that they've been. Bro, Zanino, come on now. You are not about to hit me with a taper fade, bro. What the man? Oh my god, bro! You're the second person to do that to me, bro. Why? I should have saw it coming. I should have saw it coming, dude. My god! Every time I say massive, you guys hit me with that. Stop! Stop it! I'm tired of the taper fade. I don't want it anymore. No, it's been 6 times actually. It's been 6 times, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was either 5 or 6 times. Either way, what an absurd number. How the hell? If FC makes the playoffs this year, we make FT get a taper fade. Yep, and I'm going to do something now to rig South Carolina out of the playoffs because you said that. I'm kidding. No, I'm not. For real though, the fact that we haven't beaten Clemson at home since 2013 is really embarrassing. That streak needs to end this year, and it very well might, Zanino. It very well might. The fact that we only beat them 5 times since 1980, though, that's even more embarrassing. That's even more embarrassing. Oh my, bro. And my Clemson cousin loves to remind me of that, like, because I tell him, "Hey, man, we gonna get y'all. Will it be this year?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, like you've done 5 times since 1980." I'm like, "Bro, ah, it's so frustrating." To be fair, Clemson was so good. Yeah, they were good in 2015 for 27, 2019. But you know the saddest part? From 1980 to 2023, there were mediocre Clemson teams scattered everywhere. Like 7, 8 win Clemson teams, and we couldn't even beat those. Like, what the hell? I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine not being able to beat your rival at home. Well, hokey lucky for you, you own your rivalry. Now, South Carolina's beaten Clemson 2 out of the last 3 years, to be fair, but overall history, Clemson leads this series by darn near 30. Like, we're on the losing end of the historical streak. I mean, that's what it is. Like, you own Virginia. We got to handle with being on the losing end of this rivalry, unfortunately. But hey, we've won 2 of the last 3, so and if you win this year, you've won 3 of the last 4, which will be huge. So because the sad reality for Carolina and Clemson is usually South Carolina beating Clemson. It's like one for Carolina to every 3 or 4 for Clemson. That's sickening, man. But hey, Carolina got them 2 of the last 3 years. So I mean, that really does feel good. I gotta say, because it's been tough that 7 game losing streak and not beating Clemson, and the fact that Carolina's done it 2 of the last 3 years, 2 of which at their house, that feels good, man. But I like to see us do it at our house now. I like to see us do it at our house. I mean, and I really think it could come down to a scenario again where that Clemson game decides whether Carolina makes the playoffs or not. It very well could come down to that. We'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. But I mean, that game could be another playoff game for both teams. It really could. I mean, look, both teams have potential to be special this year. Yeah, there could be another scenario where both teams are looking at that game. Winner makes it. Now, unfortunately, the exact opposite happened. The winner got left out, and the loser got in because Miami decided to screw it like they always do, and Clemson managed to beat SMU in the ACC. So yeah, screw you for that, by the way, Miami. And yeah, South Carolina's going to get you in next year's opener because of that. You got one coming. Even though I'm not going to lie, Syracuse losing kind of hurt our odds too. But I mean, I'm petty over the fact that Clemson got in over us. So yeah, we're going to get Miami something fierce for that one. Outside of the 2019 through 13 5-game winning streak, the last time South Carolina, strung two in a row was, dear God, that's so embarrassing. That is absolutely embarrassing, man. Andrew, you know your history well, though. I gotta say, man, you learn your history. You're definitely a history nerd for the Gamecocks. Yeah, the ACC is sorry for sure, but I mean, look, Clemson's got a good team. Let's be real. Clemson's got a good team. Yeah, they're in a sorry conference, but they got a good team. They got a good team. I mean, hell, Georgia Tech, I feel like had a solid team last year. They still managed to lose some games. So while the ACC definitely is not a big hurdle to get over for Clemson, Louisville managed to give them a beating. So I mean, it's not like, well, your fault for leaving the ACC. No, we just didn't want to be associated with you losers. Sorry, we wanted to play in a conference full of winners, unlike a bunch of losers and deadbeats in the ACC. Georgia Tech should have beaten Georgia last year. Yeah, they should have. Hey, another team that managed to blow a 17-point lead and blamed it on the referees. Stanford and Cower in the ACC. How embarrassing! Tell me how that makes any sense. Someone tell me how that makes any sense. You cannot call us deadbeats when Georgia is in your conference, dude. Georgia has literally been the bread of this conference over the last few years. Georgia's a really good freaking football team. I think you're talking about Vandy. I think that's where you're trying to lean. When you can't call us deadbeats when Vandy is in your conference, that would make more sense. But even old little deadbeat Vandy managed to have a winning record last year, unlike a lot of the teams in the ACC. Little old deadbeat loser fraud Vanderbilt managed to have a winning season last year. And quite a bit of the ACC schools couldn't manage to even have that. Little old Vandy did that. You ought to be embarrassed. Some of y'all out there. If Vanderbilt has a winning season, the rest of y'all who didn't, you have no excuse. If freaking Vanderbilt can have a winning season, you should too. And that's a message to every deadbeat that managed to lose more than 6 games last year. I mean, my God, Vandy made a bowl game and won it. What's your excuse to all the teams out there that didn't manage to have a winning season last year? If Vandy can do it, there's no excuse that you couldn't either. They're Vandy and they managed to do it. I'll never forget that Vanderbilt dude. I always dreamed of seeing Vandy beat Alabama. That was so awesome. Clark Lee has Vanderbilt that program, and you're grounded for 15 seconds for saying that, Andrew. Enjoy your grounding, even though it's going to be over in like 8 seconds now. But yeah, you're grounded. That was terrible, man. Never say that again. I'm kidding. That was actually a good one. Dude. Just said, dude. Oh, God. ACC is definitely on the rise, but I can't stand Clemson being good. Well, again, Clemson's like this freaking massive program in a conference full of failures. There's a couple teams that can do something like Miami, Georgia Tech, and Louisville. God knows what North Carolina is going to be under uh, Bill Belichick. I don't necessarily see it working out very well for him, but it very well could. I mean, I just it's not like there's a lot of hurdles for Clemson, unfortunately. But here's the thing: I think Georgia Tech and Louisville are going to be some of the best teams in the ACC next year, that can challenge Clemson for the conference, they got to play both of them on the road. There's a very real possibility if Clemson's caught napping, they could lose both of those games. If I'm a Clemson fan, I'd be worried about that Georgia Tech game. I got to be honest. I know Georgia Tech hasn't been great, but that's a program that's turned themselves around, and they got a really good quarterback in Haynes King. Clemson is a golden ore surrounded by cow manure in the ACC. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's true. Well, South Carolina can't be talking when they lost the ACC. Hey, we beat the last ACC team we played. We beat an ACC team the last time we played them. It was Clemson. It was you. USC and Bill isn't going to go well, in my opinion. It could, it could not. I don't know, but I think Bill Belichick. I mean, he was a good NFL coach. Doesn't always translate into success for college, though. Those are two different things. Georgia Tech developed Haynes King better than Texas A&M. Yeah, Brent Key's done a good job with Georgia Tech. He has. I remember when we beat Haynes King in 2022. Yeah, dude, we did. We did. Boy, A&M was awful that year, man. Wait till you lose to an ACC team week one. Joking, of course. It could happen. It could happen. I mean, I'll say this though. I wouldn't put it past Carolina to lose to Virginia Tech, but I think there's a greater possibility that the Earth is flat than South Carolina loses to Virginia Tech. By the way, that's 0%. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, it's happened before. It scares me. Not gonna lie. Well, it scares everybody because of past Gamecock trauma. And the thing is, if South Carolina consistently stops losing these games that they shouldn't lose to, eventually that'll go away. But until that doesn't happen, Carolina fans are always going to feel a little scared deep down in some of these games that they should win. Wait, the Earth isn't flat? No, it's a triangle, you dummy. It's a freaking triangle. How do you not know this, bro? How do you not know that the Earth is clearly a triangle? Come on, bro. Come on. I just want to win 10 games again. Me too, man. Me too. I really do. I really freaking do. The Earth is a Andrew. You're grounded again, bro. Andrew. You are grounded again. Grounded again, bro. Insane. Insane. This time you're grounded for at least 1 minute. I mean, that bringing up the skibidi toilet, you deserve to be grounded for a minute. I would kill for a 10-win season. Well, let's go kill Jason Autry, the referee, because he screwed us at that. I'm just kidding. 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 Screw you, Andrew. If you weren't a mod, you'd be muted for 24 hours. Never say that. Oh, God. Yeah, but Gamecock fans in the comment sections, tell me how you feel about the Landon Duckworth get a huge win for Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks in the recruiting battle. And yeah, hey, listen, yes, South Carolina's lost some. We've seen them lose recruiting battles, and we've seen them win them. This was a big win for South Carolina, especially for the future. I mean, this. I mean, I wanted Landon Duckworth for a very long time, and I'm super glad that we got him. The S in SC stands for, all right, Andrew, let's make that 5 minutes of grounding. Oh, Gavin, you're saying it too. Gavin, you're grounded for 30 seconds. You are grounded for 30 seconds. You don't say that word. Don't say that word, bro. Anyone else want to get grounded tonight? I feel very happy about having Duckworth. Man, me too. I think it's, I mean, again, it loads up your quarterback room even further. I mean, it's great all around. It really is. And especially because you landed an elite dual threat quarterback, a dude who can make plays with his arms and his legs. I mean, you see the very seller like plays in this guy, which makes it even more exciting because if he can be developed well at South Carolina, dude, it could be yet another star quarterback for the Gamecocks. Yet another one. But in all honesty, I really can't wait for college football to return. Me neither, brother. And guess what? Guess what? We're darn near there, man. We got 1 month to go. 1 month and a couple days to go, and we are right back to enjoying our favorite thing. Y'all get commits? Yes, we do get commits. Do you? We do get commits, even though, it's been frustrating at times because we have lost some 4-star recruiting battles, but we've also won them. And, the wins have been good. And I'll tell you, the Landon Duckworth win, according to Mike Yuva, has shot our recruiting class back into the top 20 at number 17. Gavin says, I can't wait. I'll be in my hotel watching all these games. I'll be even I'll even be right outside of Mercedes-Benz Stadium watching Tennessee fans and Syracuse fans walking out. Hope I see sad Tennessee fans. I hate to tell you, man, don't count on that. We all hope that Syracuse beats Tennessee, but we all know that's not happening. That's not happening. Even though I don't think Tennessee is going to be quite as good now because of the Nico situation, but that's not me saying they're going to fall off pretty hard. That's me saying instead of 10-2, they might go 8-4. That's what I mean. In 1988, Tennessee started the season against Syracuse. Coincidence? I don't think any natty is going to be happening in Tennessee this year because Joey Aguilar, or however you say the name, I don't have a lot of confidence in the dude. I hate to say it, but I don't. No, I don't. My real life friend is a Tennessee fan, and Syracuse is a loose rival. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. We South Carolina fans, we don't like Tennessee. It's mainly their fans, but we don't like them. We hope they lose. But I think we all know that's probably not going to happen. But anyways, guys, it's been fun. We've been going for about an hour and 50, having fun talking college football, and it's been a fun stream. It's been a fun stream. And we'll do this again next week. I might make this a Friday tradition. We might do this every Friday. How's that sound? We're gonna do this every Friday. Every Friday until the season starts. We got the SECFT Sports Show. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you all have a great weekend. And feel free to leave in the comment sections your thoughts on Landon Duckworth committing to the Gamecocks and your keys for the Gamecocks to have a successful season. Thank you all very much for watching. Your boy, SEC Football Tube, checking out Go Gamecocks. And yeah, have a good weekend in that.